agenda, minutes of November 24th, 2025, vouchers EFTs.
I make a motion that we accept the consent of agenda for the minutes for November 24th, vouchers and EFTs.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So number 3 is gonna be public comment tonight. Tonight we have a 3-minute timer, and I'm gonna be very much on top of that 3-minute timer. So once the timer goes off, please, let's stop at that point. Would anybody like anything to talk about on the public agenda tonight?
About tonight's meeting, or agenda items that only.
Okay, then we'll move on. Number 4 is new business. Number 1, under new business, agreement relating to appointment of public defender for city of Morton.
We got 3 names here, and 2, one is you, and then the other one is Embody, who we've also contracted with. Is Jacob new?
Not me.
It's not him.
So it's
It's Embody.
Joe Embody and Jay Clark are the 2 public defenders, and they do it for this city and other cities that are have all the cities that run their courts through Napa Land law, and they have had this agreement for the next upcoming year or couple of years, and all the cities have gotten the same thing. And material differences are, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that for 2026, the rate is going up a little bit, and then again the next year. And the way that it's billed is on a per unit basis. So, for example, this is for everybody here, I guess. If you get one case, that's considered 1 unit. If you go to trial, it's another unit. If there's some other things, it could be a half unit or another unit. So their rate is per unit. There is a new law that is passed, not law, it's more ethics for attorneys. It dictates how many cases you can have per year as a public defender, and that's all the way from misdemeanors to felonies. And they've allowed for courts to do case weighting, which has not become uniform yet, and all the courts have done that yet. For example, if you have a client as a public defender who's arrested for, and I'm using cases that come before Morton Municipal Court, DUI, that is a more complicated case to defend and advise your client for something other than maybe trespassing, which is kind of cut and dry, or driving while license suspended 3rd degree. So the case weighting system is that might be worth one for DUI, and for a driving while license suspended 3rd degree, in my opinion, it should be worth maybe a 0.1. On a system where public defenders can only have, and again, I'm making this number up just for the sake of an example, 100 cases per year. So with the state, our court and bar association passing these new ethics, it is making public defenders more scarce. And what's happening around the state, not so much in little communities like this in Lewis County overall, but in bigger cities, they're forming offices, like offices of public defender. They're becoming quasi-governmental agencies. So everything is getting more expensive, and it's necessitating more administration, more attorneys. So the trickle-down effect here is that the country attorneys that are doing public defender work are limited in how much work they can have, and as a result now, plus inflation, rates are rising. And that's my understanding.
One question.
But otherwise, Mr. Embody and Mr. Clark do a good job.
One question is that, like, that make-believe number of 100, is that in aggregate or is that like per contract?
That's aggregate.
So what happens if you get to that 100 cases? Then what do you guys do?
Well, I don't do public defending,
No,
but
but-
any of those guys, supposedly that's it. I mean, so you're capped for the year. You can't take that kind of, I mean, if that's your niche of law, is doing criminal defense, you can't do anymore. Otherwise, you can be sanctioned ethically. So, I mean, this is brand new.
So what happens to your public though that needs that public defender?
Yep.
They're screwed?
Yep.
They're screwed anyhow.
I mean, there's laws on the books from a long time ago where the judge can conscript some local attorney and say, you're defending this person for free because it's a public defender.
So
And
that's
not
what
free,
would
the
be
government's
next
paying you.
step.
Yeah, it's not well, it's one of those that, in my opinion, is, not well thought out by the higher ups.
Most things aren't.
Well,
I
you
agree.
do have a right to an attorney, so,
So,
I mean,
no, I was
you don't
just
need to worry
curious
too
on
much
what the
about
next step
that.
was.
That, you can't, that's in the Constitution, so you have the right to an attorney, period.
No, I
End of
understand
subject.
that. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, it's a matter, in my
Well-
opinion, it's absolute right, I mean, this is a necessity, a function of government, but it's just how expensive government is making all of this, is the issue that I take.
I was just curious on what you guys were gonna step to.
But anyway, if you ask me, I think the contract's fine.
I looked at it and it's, there's nothing, other than the stuff he said, well, even with the stuff he said, I don't think that, we have many options here, we've got Embody and we've got Clark, so, and the pool is limited, so we don't really have a whole lot of options anyway, so.
That's true too.
With that, I will make a motion that we accept.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Moving on to number 2, approval of CBA for non-commissioned employees.
CBA is a collective bargaining agreement.
Yes, sir.
This is pretty straightforward stuff. I mean, I think that, I looked at the thing that we were sent in our email, the bargaining agreement was sent in our email. I'm sure that you probably saw it too.
Yes, I did.
Marissa did, okay. Unions are good.
I checked with, our treasurer just to make sure that the raises would be supported, that they would be sustainable, and, we'll do ourselves along that.
According to the budget, yeah, yeah. Do you have a question?
Can you clarify?
Are you
what
running
was
this,
the-
or am I running this?
I'm sorry, go ahead. She has her hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you clarify the positions that qualify as commission versus non-commission, since both of the CBAs are on the agenda?
So police officers are commissioned, everybody else is non-commissioned.
So like public works and office staff are non-commission, is that?
Yes, ma'am. Anybody else?
Because they're both basically the exact same wording, just one's commission, one's non-commission, I have made a motion that we do both CBAs for the non-commission and the commission office as well.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're taking care of number 2 and 3 at once. Okay, so number 4 is where I'm gonna stop for a minute here. This is where I know it's gonna get heated. And so at this point, if you have a comment to make, I'd appreciate a hand up in the air and I'll call on you. Please know, nothing ever got solved in heated argument. Okay, so let's try to make this as plausible as possible. I will explain that the council will not engage in dialogue with the public during this time. Okay, so as we move forward here, let's go to number 4. Dan Mortensen, citizen complaint regarding council abuse of position. Dan?
A couple things before I start. Number one, I want to thank the board members for their community service. It's long, hard fought battle, and I appreciate that. Thank you. My comments tonight is not meant to be argumentative. I'm not going to exchange conversation. I'm going to make a comment, and the council can take it for what it's worth. Last meeting, I was here to represent the Historical Society in asking for tourism dollars and funds to support the city's visitor center. Just prior to that, we had a couple of citizens that got up and read some statements against the visitor center getting tourism dollars. And I thought, I've been doing this a long time, as a mayor for 8 years, public service for 40 years. Very seldom do you hear citizens get up and read an organized statement, particularly against the Historical Society or the Visitor Center. But I thought, geez, people are actually being concerned about the city's budget for once. Because of the many, many years that I was
Point of
there.
order. This person's recording, that's against the law in a public meeting.
No, it's not.
Absolutely not.
It's not against the law.
Without permission of all the people.
Can you please clarify if this is against the law or not?
She can do that.
Thank you.
If it's a
Can't you
court,
do that?
Yep.
if it's a court of law, you cannot do it unless you have the judge's prior permission, and there's parameters that are set. But in a general public hearing, it's okay to do.
We're not allowed to do it in our meetings.
Thank
so
you.
I'm taking it back.
Ask the press on reporting too.
Yep.
Just audio.
Okay, Dan, sorry for that.
Sure. So, I'm kind of a guy that's got the cup half full, and so I didn't really think too much about it. Until after I made the presentation and Mr. Sawyer, started enumerating his feelings about, my participation in the Historical Society. And he basically said, since how I was the mayor when Tammy Clevenger, embezzled up close to $1 million in 11 years, that he felt that maybe the Historical Society should appoint a new leadership because he didn't have a whole bunch of confidence in my leadership. Therefore, he was questioning whether the Historical Society or the Visitors Information Center should be worthy of tourism tax. Well, I'm gonna just describe a few things that the city does, and all of you members know that as well as I do. We have 3 branches of government: the judicial branch, which is Jim; the legislative branch, which is the council; and the executive branch, which would be the mayor. And I think tonight, actually, Mr. Sawyer approved the consent agenda. The consent agenda is what the city spends every month, and the council approves that consent agenda, otherwise it can't be spent. I didn't hear the mayor say, please, I vote to approve the consent agenda, because the mayor doesn't have that vote. The council does. So in my tenure as mayor, I never approved the consent agenda one time. The council did. Not that I don't have confidence in the council, because I do, that's their job. And for the most part, most of the council come in early and sit down and go through the consent agenda before it ever hits this table. So I think Mr. Sawyer's prejudice against me and the Historical Society and the Visitor Center was misplaced, at the very least. A couple of other things I want to bring up. A few months ago, Tammy Clevenger was sentenced in federal court in Tacoma. And as an elected representative, Mr. Sawyer, I'm sure you were there in attendance representing the community of Morton and addressing the court how you were concerned about her embezzlement of the dollars and how you were representing the citizens of Morton, and you felt that maybe she should pay restitution and maybe she should go to court, maybe she should be in prison. Our city attorney was there, and he gave a very eloquent speech and well placed. Our mayor was there. He spoke to the court how she had cheated us, all of us. The city clerk was there, and she spoke on how Tammy had cheated her and how Tammy had embezzled from our community. I was there, and I spoke on behalf of the city, because she not only cheated me as well, she used my signature. She signed checks in my name. And also, during my tenure as mayor, I was the one that asked the city council, hey, we need to split these two representatives up. We need to separate the city clerk from the city treasurer. So the city clerk doesn't have her hand on all the pies. And guess what? Shortly after we appointed the city treasurer, Tammy resigned. Because she knew the ship was gonna hit the wall. But I'll tell you, Mr. Sawyer, what you are interested in, because you're a voter of the public and you support our public and you support our community and you're concerned about all the money that the city lost. I filed a PDR with the city a couple weeks ago. This is what I got. First, in March 18, 2024 to March 2025, March 25th, 2024, a bill from Buzzard Associates for $425. The second dated was 5/2/24 to June 10, 2024, in the tune of $2,038.63. The third one was in 9/24/25 through 10/14/25 for $1,125. To the tune of $3,588.63. The city spent defending the city stance because you didn't want to pay a water bill. So I know you're really taken up with the citizens and you want to concur their money. But you don't have a problem with suing the city because you don't want to pay an ordinance. Your untimely accusation is not by accident. I think these folks that were here last meeting that read those statements were orchestrated by you. For some reason or other, you have some kind of prejudice against me and or the Historic Society and or the Visitor Center. You and I have had exactly 2 conversations. Once just before I was no longer mayor, I was working right out here, actually setting posts in the park, and you walked by with your dogs. And we stopped and exchanged courtesies. The second time we spoke was when I swore you in here in front of the table. And part of that oath says, I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Washington and all local ordinances, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of this office. And I don't think you've met that standard. So I'm asking a couple of things. I know you probably don't have the integrity to abstain from voting for tourism dollars or the visitor center or historical society. So I'm going to ask the council to pass a resolution sanctioning you from voting for the use of tax dollars, tourism dollars, for the visitor center or the historical society. And thirdly, you probably just need to resign. Boo.
Boo.
We're gonna, move on, and then at the end of the public participation, I'll give you 3 minutes to speak. So going forward, number 5 is Jerry Whalen, removal of light pole on 141 Front Ave. Jerry?
Yeah, just a question. I've lived up here a couple years now, and I lived down 141 Front Avenue, and they got this one light, and I talked to the city, I talked to PUD, I talked to the city the first time. They said, well, that's not our problem, that's the city, or the PUD. Okay, then I went to PUD, and they said, oh no, that's the city's problem. I'm like, okay, so I went back to, I had a gentleman work on my dishwasher, and he goes, the gentleman that lived there before probably had that light put in, because it's the only light on this whole block And he goes, it's right there in front of your house. And I went, well, maybe makes sense. He goes, go back and talk to the PUD again. I said, okay. So I went back, talked to them. First, I'm sorry. I went back, talked to, where I paid my light bill. And they said, well, that's not our pole. Okay. So I'm back to PUD. I said, well, if you're paying for it, you can have it removed. So they did some things on her typewriter. She goes, no, you're not paying for it. That's city. Okay, here we go again. So I went back to the city, and there was a lady here. I think I've seen her. Anyway, she says, well, you just come to the council meeting and state your case. So I'm here to ask if I could just have that light removed because it shines right down where my wife and I like to sit and watch TV, and it's a very bright light. And I come from a big city, come to this nice little town to kind of like sit in our backyard, have a fireplace, and look up and see the stars. And with this light, it's like, really? So I'm just asking if I could get that light removed. And I have the gentleman that hooked up our astound power, he was gonna climb it, and he got partway up it and came back down and goes, I gotta get my bucket truck, he goes, because that light pole he was in really bad shape. Which I brought that up to both parties, it's still the same pole, so.
Do you have any neighbors, Jerry?
Yeah, I have Ralph, not Ralph,
How many houses are on your block?
ours. Not Ralph. Four houses.
Four houses.
Four houses.
How do your neighbors feel about it? Have you expressed it to them?
Well, the old fellow next to me, he don't say too much, because he's just kind of like a little permit. He's a nice guy, but don't talk much. And other people, I don't think it really bothers them. It's just, my wife and I, we just.
Is there any way you can kind of petition it so that we can do like a majority rules type deal where I'm not gonna piss off 3 other people because we take the light pole out for one individual or vice versa?
Yeah, we come back to another meeting and see what they say.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yep, I live next door to him, and that light shines really bright in my backyard. When I first put it up, it was like a spotlight into both of our bedrooms, and we got that kind of curtain. So yeah, if that could be taken down, I'd be in for it.
So you got one in your vote already?
We'll help you get the others.
Yeah, so just kind of go to your other neighbors, find out how they feel about it,
Okay.
and then come back to next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, moving forward to number 6. Rhonda Cornwell, East Louis County Chamber of Commerce, requesting $15,000 from 2026 tourism funds. Rhonda?
I need to resubmit that. I'll explain why in here in a minute.
The budget, everything in there, you look at?
Wow, very nicely prepared. Well done.
Except for my husband tears it.
No, it's just, I love it when people come so prepared. That's great.
Thank you.
Really
My name
nice.
is Rhonda, and I'm the new president of the East Louis County Chamber of Commerce. And we have a couple of projects coming up that we're excited about. And I turned in an original grant in a hurry, so I didn't have time to put the budget together with the flooding and the holidays. I couldn't get people on the phone, but now we have a better idea of what we're looking for. But we're looking to bring in we're going to try to best to break the Guinness Book of World Records. It hasn't been announced yet, but we're going to try to do the world's largest picnic. So we need about 900 dishes and about 1,400 people. So this year is America's 250th anniversary, and there's different ways. The Historical Society is going to be doing something, the Roxy Theater is going to be doing something as well. And we took it upon ourselves as the chamber to create this event. So there's still a lot of things in the planning. I need to meet with you guys to determine if there's permits that we need to obtain, where to have it and so forth, but we're kind of shooting for June right now. And then our next event is our Sasquatch Festival. We have several TV stars coming in. The host of Finding Bigfoot is planning on visiting us. They'll be here for 3 days. And so we got some really cool speakers coming in. And Matt Moneymaker is also the host of BFRO, which is Bigfoot Research headquarters, and he will be here. So we are also looking into getting Expedition X. They're plan on visiting us as well. So this should be a huge event. We've done some research, and these guys have not appeared at any shows. So with them not being there, they've had about 4,500 people. So we're anticipating a huge following. We've got guests coming in from Canada. So we're expecting to fill up Morton, and probably Randall and surrounding areas. So those are the events that we're asking for your consideration with.
You're nice.
Thank you.
World's largest picnic, now that is thinking outside the box. Outside the lunch box. So this is something that we are not voting on this evening?
No, I don't think we're the council can decide how to use the dollars, we haven't done anything, so.
Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna open it up to public participation for 3 minutes. Once again, please raise your hand, I'll call on you. If there's any kind of outburst from the crowd, I'm gonna point you out. I'll warn you the first time, second time, I'm gonna ask for that, escort you out.
I was hoping Dan was gonna stick around a little while tonight, and at least take a couple questions and explain himself a little bit. When he's making those accusations against one of our council members about the charges to the city attorney. I would like to ask Mr. Buzzard, how much extra hundreds of dollars did Dan have you included in your payroll for the last few years of his being mayor? I know of at least a couple $1,000s that he paid you on his personal tax before the community. So I'm just gonna bring that up, that I know of for a fact that you bailed out a couple $1,000s just to fight me in the court system. You don't have to answer that, but I would like you to answer this. Are you representing Dan or giving him personal, or giving him legal advice right now?
So, Mayor, this is,
Just answer the question, are you giving him legal advice on this subject? that
we're
came up tonight?
breaking the norm here and allowing you to address me and
He
not the
said that
council number
we
one.
were gonna discuss it with the council members, you did not say nothing about me addressing it with you.
Number two, I'll answer your question, however I wanna answer your question, if you don't interrupt me. I'd like everybody to hear this.
Okay, just
This
answer.
is at least maybe third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time you've come before the council.
That is no, answer the question, just answer the question, we're not gonna go through
And you
dialogue and go in the past.
And you, please take a step back.
Yeah.
Are you,
Take a step back.
Let him answer the question.
And you
okay,
made-
have him answer
You
it,
made
right?
accusations about the former mayor, and you linked me to the former mayor, and you tried to allege that somehow I'm in cahoots with the mayor out to get you personally.
No, I feel that you're giving him advice, legal counsel right now, under this issue.
So, to answer that first one, I want everybody to understand that this is an old story that we're hearing from Mr. McKenzie, and none of it is true. Number two, whether I am or am not giving the former mayor advice is not something that I would say to anybody, but I will, because this is how Mr. McKenzie operates, and no, I'm not. He's not a client of mine, and I'm not advising him in any form or capacity whatsoever. Mr. McKenzie, this is nothing new that you're doing here.
Okay,
I don't think
okay,
this
you
is
answered the
new.
question, I got 3 minutes, so let's get on with it. Would you be willing to take a lie detector with that statement?
Yeah,
Okay,
I would.
I'll keep that in mind. So, to get back to Dan's,
Got about 15 seconds.
he took after it.
Oh, no.
Okay, as far as Dan saying that the council member was against the historical society, that is not the case. The council member has a legitimate reason not to let that money go away.
Okay, we're done.
I agree on that statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. McKenzie.
Thanks for speaking up.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
To Mr. McKenzie's point, I don't think there's anyone here who's against the Historical Society. Anyone against the Historical Society?
Not
No.
in Sawyer.
No. I think the problem really comes down to past leadership or lack thereof, which is well documented. And, I mean, actually legally speaking, would the council face any sort of potential liability down the road by handing more public funds to someone who has clearly demonstrated in the past that they can't handle it? Mr. Buzzard?
Is this question and answer time, or you guys want me to engage the public?
No, we're not answering questions tonight. We're gonna let you state what you'd like to say. At that point, I'd like to say thank you and I appreciate your comment. Anybody else?
I'll quickly say that he totally gaslit the whole situation and put it all back on Sawyer, which I thought was crazy. I also find that it is very strange that Mortensen of all people is in charge of tourism and the dollars that are coming into this. I mean, he's the one that supported the Ku Klux Klan Trump Tower that sat across from the grade school that a lot of people don't come back to Morton because of. Gus Backstrom Park doesn't get full like it used to. People don't want to be here. They see us as hillbillies. Timber turning people, I mean, it turned a whole group of people away from not feeling safe to come to our tiny town. So it's random that he is in charge of that, and shouldn't he have given up like what they need the money for? What was the money spent on in the past? There's just a lot of holes that he just flipped it and gaslit, so I'll say that.
Thank you, appreciate
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna go over here first.
So first of all, I want to say that as somebody who served on the council for 4 years during Tammy Clevenger's tenure with Dan as the mayor, I felt a little attacked by his remarks. I really wish he had stayed so that he could hear me say that it's interesting to start a statement with, I'm not here to be argumentative, and then tell someone that they don't have any integrity. That's fairly argumentative. Additionally, part of the reason I think, as a former council member, why Tammy Clevenger was able to do what she did is because there was not a system set up, and part of it was the city clerk and the treasurer being one position. But there was not a system set up that made it easy for council members to look at financials with a lot of time and detail. And whatever his motives are, and I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'm not going to assign motive to Councilman Sawyer, but asking questions about the way that public money is going to be spent is what the council is supposed to do, and it is what I believe Mr. Mortensen was accusing the former council of having not done when we approved the consent agendas that had the embezzlement in it. So when you cannot have it both ways, you cannot have a completely courteous, entirely unnegative expectation. Was that my time?
You got 1 more minute.
You cannot have a situation where nobody ever says anything unkind or uncouth or not even accusatory, just in a questioning manner, and also expect questions to get answered. So I agree that the temperature probably needs to come down, but I don't think it's fair to say that asking for a detailed list of projects that $20,000 of public money is going to be spent on, I don't think that that amounts to abusing power, and I think that's exactly what the council needs to be doing more consistently with
Hear, hear.
all funds.
Hear, hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Boss?
I just think we completely missed the point. I don't think Dan presented it well. I think Mr. Sawyer had every right to ask from the county where the money would be spent. However, I think it degrades the council and is unfair to the people when someone continues past that point and makes it personal. If he has that opinion, that's fair. But forgive me if I'm incorrect here, but I would like to separate the two. I think it's imperative that we look at that money.
but I think it was inappropriate at best to bring forward personal issues about someone's performance in the past and their job. That's up to the private organization to decide who represents them. I don't think the council should be speaking to that kind of point at all. There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
I do feel like it's personal. Coming from someone who's grown up in this community and watched the changes as they've happened, I feel like people should be taking these kinds of things personally because in all reality, like I said, it is personal. Like it's our tax dollars, it's us who's being affected by these actions, and it doesn't have to be like a public display of, you know, the naysaying and the back and forth, but I do think that it's appropriate for people to look at someone's history and comment on that for the entirety of the public to be made aware of, if that makes sense. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate your comments.
Yeah.
Anybody else? So with that, I move to adjourn the meeting.
You can.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, yes, far as.
Yeah, are we doing that in front of her?
It's number 7. Okay, we actually, yeah.
All right. So at this point, we're gonna swear in our new council members. Would everybody be opposed of doing this all together, or would you guys like it individually done? Okay, so if I can ask my council members to step up to the front of the room, please. Okay guys, how I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna start out with I, and then you guys are each gonna say your name individually. And then I'm gonna read off so much where you're gonna read that back to me. Okay? So, guess we're gonna raise our right hand. I do solemnly swear to affirm that I will support. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Washington, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of City of Morton Council position.
City of Morton, council position. 3.
According to the law and to the best of my abilities.
According to the law and to the best of my abilities.
Subscribed and sworn to before me on 12/29 of 25.
Subscribed to before me.
I now pronounce you guys councilmen of City.
Woo!
You're a free man now.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm taking Richard's chair. I know, I told you.
Oh, yeah.
Over the fence.
I mean, technically, if you get sick of smell to me. You can just go somewhere else. So it gets so dry in here sometimes.
Yes, I have.
Hey, Sarah, was that bitch who's to couldn't record Morton's TV? I know she's in the museum, but I don't know her name. That comment's gonna be in this video. Subscribe and like to my YouTube channel.
All right, sounds like I can make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys for your services.
Thank you all.
Bye. Travis Cooper, who never said a word.